CPI Podcast. I'm here with a super old friend of mine, Todd Margolis. What's up? Good to see you again, man. It's been a while since you've been down here. Changed a little, huh?
Yeah, amazing. It's amazing to see the growth it's my third trip down. So from the first trip to the second trip where you moved to a different location while you were working in the hospital and still renovating that hospital, and now back to that hospital, and it's freaking sick. I mean, it's
doesn't even look like the same building, huh?
Oh, no. It is.
Sometimes I think if we just tore the whole old building down and started over again, it would have been quicker. But, what got us was that, we got murdered by Hillary. Not the Hillary you're thinking of, but Hurricane Hillary, when it came through here, to stop being a hurricane and became tropical storm, which was actually worse because the wind stopped and it just sat on us for 4 days and flooded everything. We lost 3 floors. 3 floors of the hospital had to be completely redone.
I remember there was in the first hospital by the hyperbaric tank, there was still a hole in the floor.
Yeah.
Back then, I mean, you guys were still shoring up the building.
Well, we had to figure out how to reinforce. The building was built in the 70s, and there's decay. But also, in order to we put a whole extra floor on top of the building.
Right.
We had to get underneath it and get it structurally checked out and stuff.
Yeah.
So we ended up putting in massive pylons to support the whole building. Yeah.
Okay, so I was like, did I remember that correctly? And I did remember that correctly. You were doing structural stuff. Yeah. But it's wild. So, and to go from the first time we were down here with, 6 fighters, and that was super cool. Made some great relationships.
Yeah.
To the second time I came down, which was a year later, and redid a couple of the same discs and did another disc. Didn't do my neck. And then met some really cool people on that trip to coming back this time. And there were more people the second time, 2 years ago. And now
packed.
It's packed.
It's packed.
Amazing.
Yeah.
On multiple floors.
Yeah.
So from 6 to 8 people, whatever it was the first time we were down here 3 years ago, to I don't know how many people were in there. I mean, we had three vans full of people coming down. So
we have 40 plus this week.
Incredible.
Including returns, yeah.
Yeah. So, and then the expansion of the amount of doctors that you have, nurses, capable people, getting my IVs put in every single day with no problem. Mm-hmm. Today, I'm going to have the injections today, so I'm going to go under and have the surgery on my. They're not going to they're going to put injections in the joints again for inflammation, but not going back in. So the MRI showed the discs have looked good. We're trying to get the juxtapositions of the 3 years ago, 2 years ago, and today. My back has been doing pretty well. It's gone out a little bit. I've done some dumb things like, lifting heavy rocks and not warmed up, and shoveling snow for multiple days in a row and twisting. And so,
buy a snowblower.
Yeah. I was like, whatever. It was just dumb. So really, this trip is more about just getting ahead of things rather than being chronic pain. I still have a little bit of tingling in my left leg, but I've been doing great. I mean, I just finished my week-long wrestling camp with, a bunch of young, tough wrestlers that I was wrestling with, and 49. So I'm not, doing 6 hours a day of training, but if I can jump on the mat and do a week-long intensive wrestling camp with my nephew and my other coaches, and it didn't. I felt a twinge, and I looked at my clock, and it was 18 minutes left after a week. I was like, oh man, my back made it the entire week with 18 minutes left. This was after I'd already scheduled to come down here, so I was already feeling a little twinge. But I'm like, man, that's great. And then, like you were talking about yesterday to everybody, I need to work on physical therapy and doing some other things to complement what's going on, what I'm doing down here. And this time, I'll be a little less hard-headed, and I'm gonna rest a little bit more. So this summer is a good time to rest, because summer is always a little slower at the Martial Arts Academy too. So by the time September comes around, I know I'm gonna be ready to rock and roll. So, and I'm doing my shoulder, and I tore my shoulder recently. They found 2 little tears and some inflammation, so they're gonna hit the shoulder today too. So
That's the problem with guys like us, that we feel good and then we just do dumb shit again and again. I tore my shoulder training July 4th last year. It's good now, you know. It's not perfect.
I gotta warm up more.
That is the
I'm
key.
not good at warming up. I've been my whole life been able to just jump on the mat and go, and I need to warm up. So
See, that's what I've learned. Like, every day I work out, the first thing I warm up a little bit, usually like 10, 15 minutes on the stationary or something, and then right into my back stretches.
Right.
And then I go right into my core exercises, and then I start lifting weights.
Right.
Yeah. And it makes a huge difference for me.
Right.
And I can tell if I haven't done my back stretches, my back stuff, like I was just out with Ed in Nashville. We bought a new peptide lab out there. We're getting the cellular manufacturing set up in Nashville. And I just wasn't hitting the gym every day like I normally would. And after a few days of not really doing anything, I could just feel my back getting tight. I'm like, okay.
Right.
I'm going to go walk around the block for 20 minutes, and then I'm going to come in and do all my stretch, do all my in stretches, and then loosen it back up, and then I was fine.
Right.
Yeah. But, I'm 55 now. If I don't take care of my back,
Well, stretching is key. So my sister teaches yoga, and as much as I dislike yoga, just because it's not interesting to me.
Yeah.
I certainly know that it's critical to aging gracefully and having posture and just good structure. I saw Lovato just posted something about that as well. So yeah, stretching, warming up, doing those types of things as we get older. I have little kids. I have a 3-year-old son who's turning 4 in August. I have a 6-year-old Maximus who's a freaking machine. And I have little Todd who's 9, who's been training, but I haven't put him in any intense wrestling. So he knows, like, this year we're starting the intensity on his wrestling. And obviously, I feel like I have a lot to give to them. And so coming back down here and talking to my wife about it and, investing in my body more is because I started late with kids. I don't want to turn I want to be able to coach my kids.
Yeah.
Is the long and the short of it. I want to bring in other coaches like I do and bring them to other people who are amazing, because there are a lot of amazing coaches out there. But I do like them to know that dad can still get down and have that respect for their father and to be able to share those things with them. So all of this is that, really that Elio Gracie mindset of being on the mat at 70, 80 plus, having something to offer and being a badass at freaking 65. Not like, oh, I'm 50, I can't wrestle anymore. No, man, I want to be freaking 60 and still kicking butt, Might not have as many titles as Megaton.
Yeah, right.
But that's okay too. But his mindset where he talks about, like, I'll probably die on the mats.
Right.
That would be okay.
Megaton, I could see that. I mean, that guy's still going in the adult division.
He's a machine.
Machine. He was, I started in 95, Worlds 96, and Megaton was black belt fighting in 96.
Right.
So basically 30 years
right.
of fighting adult worlds.
Right.
Yeah.
Insanity. Yeah. Legend.
And then, of course, he'll go do the Masters and all the other ones too. But
and wipe up over there.
As long as he can get into qualify and get into those adult ones, he's in there. It's crazy. Yeah.
So I'd like to go back and compete. I've been, I think, 4 or 5 times one match away from medaling at the Worlds. I've still never medaled at the Worlds. A little bit of heartburn for me.
Yeah.
So that's on the to-do list. Maybe not this year, but if I can see how I feel the following year. But I'm not interested in doing that at jeopardizing my ability to continue to teach at the school and pass it on to my children in the next generation. So it's whatever that balance can be. But if I can get that IBJJF,
I think if you spend a year like really, doing your stretching, doing your physical therapy, and just make sure that you're focused on not re-injuring anything. Why not?
Yeah. We'll try.
Yeah.
Having fun. Well, thank you for having me back down here, brother.
Anytime.
I love it.
Anytime.
You and I had a lot.
It's great because you always entertain the patients, you know. So, but we got to get the karaoke machine out this year.
We gotta rock and roll.
The one trip where we watched, you know, the epic Jiu Jitsu MMA matches of life on the big screen. With all, remember that? All the patients were going through YouTube.
Yes.
And you were doing breakdowns for everybody.
Yes. Yeah.
Some patients got a serious education in the history of jiu-jitsu and MMA over the last 20, 30 years worth of YouTube videos.
That's right. That was an awesome group, though, you know, because you had Mo from ADCC.
Yep.
And then you had Alberto.
Alberto Crane was here.
Another legend.
I think was AJ here?
AJ
Aguilar was here.
Yeah.
That was before like the general public found out about us.
Right.
Right? Because for the longest time, it was just mostly like fighters, jiu-jitsu guys, stuntmen, some extreme sports people that would come down.
Right.
But now you look at like this week and, you know, there's like high-level athletes would be like you, John. What's John's last name? The football player?
Runyon.
John Runyon.
Yeah, 14 years in the NFL and a congressman.
Yep. Other than that, everybody else is just like a normal person, if I think about it.
You have Evans. Yeah. Evans was a pro wakeboarder, I think.
Oh, that's right, the pro wakeboarder. Yeah, that's extreme sports guy, too.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
And then you have your buddy who's the stuntman.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, just
so that's 4 people though out of 40, right?
Right.
Whereas before it would be like UFC, you know, boxers,
like, I know
you know what I mean? Like everybody, it was all like fighters or extreme sports, or you know, like maybe there's like one random, let's say, regular person, you know, there. Now it's 10% extreme sports, high level athletes, 90% just your average person that wants to take care of their health.
Wants to get better.
Yeah.
And, you know, you had 82-year-old down here this week.
Yep.
Getting therapies from Doug. Who was the founder of Lighthouse Salad Dressings.
Yep.
Super interesting guy from Idaho. Came down with his daughter-in-law. Lovely. Yeah. But what a neat guy. Mm-hmm. And what I loved about that is I want to get my father down here. You know, he's cancer survivor. He's had some strokes and stuff like that. And I you know, took some messages from Doug and sent them to my dad. Like, you can do this. Like, this is.
Oh, I finally got my dad to come down.
Yeah.
He's 85. About 3 or 4 years ago, he had a full knee replacement. I'm like, what are you doing? You know, like, come down and try the stem cells. Oh, my orthopedic said it won't work for me. I'm like, buddy, we have people come down every week that are told they need knee replacement. One treatment, they're fine, you know?
Right.
How many MRIs does your orthopedic want me to send? I got 50, 100, 150. You want me to send him 300 knee MRIs? Like, what does he need to see? Nope. Got the knee replacement. Miserable, you know?
Right.
Sawing out your bone, you know, and everything. So now his shoulders got really bad, and they're talking about replacing his shoulders. But in the meantime, my younger brother came down and got treatment and had a great response. And so we kind of ganged up on him, and about maybe a month ago, he finally came down, did both of his shoulders, you know, some IV and wrist, things like that. And he's like already feeling it, you know, 85. So
amazing.
Yeah, bring dad in.
That's amazing. Yeah. Gosh, I was thinking about something, and then I lost it on
you were talking about Doug. Bring your dad down. Your dad had a couple strokes.
It was something else that had popped up, but whatever.
That's all right.
It'll come back. It'll come back. So yeah, going back to stuff that we've done, right? Where we've been. I want to talk about our time in Brazil.
All right, let's talk about Brazil.
Brazil was legendary, and just the interesting thing about just this sport and the connections that it makes, and all of the lives that you've touched through the years. I mean, you were the man down in Brazil because you were living there. And the rest of us, most of us, we would just come and visit.
Right.
And so you had the full lay of the land. Obviously, you owned a house down there. you were still running on the mat, right?
Yeah, onthemat.com.
At the time, and running, typing stories and doing all the videos and the recording. Now, when did you were doing the official recordings for the IBJJF at some point,
No,
right?
never officially, like they never officially, they actually started to actually dislike me. Back then it was CBJJ, right? Hadn't even become, it was Confederação Brazil,
Yes, that's right.
Brasileiro Jiu Jitsu.
Right.
And, for a little while they were cool with letting me film matches and put matches up for the publicity.
Right.
And that's how it was in Brazil. I met Paquetá. He was the guy doing video for, since the beginning of Jiu Jitsu. And, the first thing that kind of put a bad taste in their mouth was the Mark Lehman remix tapes came out. Remember before DVDs, Lehman made these tapes where he would just take the match and cut the best move. And then he'd put it like once at full time and then twice in slow-mo and then once at full time. And then you go to the next move in the match. So you could pop the tape in and you could watch it, but you could really learn it because you were seeing each transition, each submission 4 times.
Okay.
And of course, Mark was from Nova União, and I was training at Gracie Baja, right? Competitive teams. And, those Mark Lehman had made those tapes, and there was a lot of CBJJ footage in there. And it wasn't a lot of Gracie Baja guys winning. And so then I started selling those tapes on onthemat.com. I was buying them from Mark,
right?
Just selling another product. And, they got around, and the weird thing for me always was being in Brazil was there wasn't like a good understanding of the internet, right? Like they didn't know what like a forum was. So, we had the forum, and so they would go to my site and read the forum and think that everything that was written on the forum was written by me.
Yeah.
Even though it was, anybody totally on the world could sign up
right.
and, do it and stuff. And
I remember those. That was where you went to get a lot of information and results. And
it was different back then.
You could ask a question, who's who.
And so, and then I would sell people stuff and things. And so, it was kind of like this, well, you're selling this on your site, you're responsible for it. And so, they were mad about what was on the contents of the tapes, and then that, Mark and I were making, and they always had this like exaggerated idea of how much money was actually being made. Right. So then it became like, you can film at the tournament, but you have to pay us $10,000. And I'm thinking like, I sold like $1,000 worth of those tapes total.
Right.
Like, how big do you think jiu-jitsu is, buddy?
Right.
You know what I mean? $10,000.
Right.
They're $20, $19.99 each. Do the math. Like, are you kidding me?
Right.
Like, jiu-jitsu is so small. Like late 90s, early 2000s. It's not like it is today.
Yeah. It's not like 80cc tapes being sold now, or instructionals by.
I got Gordon Ryan making millions of dollars on in one instructional. Like,
right. No, it's not that way.
The best selling one I ever did was 101 submissions, and, that sold tens of thousands of copies. But, that was like the best selling ever at that time. But like, nobody was selling, tens of thousands of other, you come out with an instructional.
And when did Kid Peligro come in?
Kid Peligro, I don't know when Abu Dhabi Combat Club went up online. First jiu-jitsu site online was BJJ.org, which was our friend Don Geddes. He trained at Half Gracie's. And then was In the Guard. Remember In the Guard? And then onthemat.com was Gumby and I, Alan and I.
Yeah.
We put that up. And then BJJ.org, the contents got transferred to onthemat.com. It had like the full Gracie lineage and a bunch of stuff like that.
Right.
But we were the first ones to ever post videos on.
I saw Gumby just got like his 4th or 5th degree or something like that.
Something like that, yeah. I mean, I can't believe how many black belts he's got. Like underneath it, he got like 5 schools now.
That's amazing, right?
Yeah. It's crazy.
So we're
I don't have a single stripe.
On your black belt?
No.
Let's do that today. Come
I'm
on.
stripeless.
Let's make some news. Let's make some news.
I don't even know how many works. Like,
I know
how
what I was
many
going
you're
to tell
supposed
you.
to get.
I know what I was going to tell you now.
What?
Well, it's funny because it was like the CBJJ, right? Whatever, right?
Yeah.
Before they changed. And then, so, you know, I was in the USA, the first team challenge, black belt team challenge in 2003. And I went against Cassio Warnak. And then I wrestled, I think it was 2003 or 2004. Might have been 2004, the year that I did that. Yeah, because that's the year I think I ended up taking third in the Open and lost to Jacare and beat Tellis. And, but, so, you know, there's all this history of me competing IBJJF, right? Even at black belt and winning that black belt. Oh. And then when I went to go back in 2019.
They don't recognize your black belt.
They're like, okay, you got to get your black belt certified. I'm like, I'm a multiple time medalist at black belt.
Yeah.
You know, at that time it was 16 years prior, 15, 16 years prior. And I need a certification now. But yeah, so I still haven't gotten my, I thought that was funny. I get it. Process is process.
You know, the number of people that were out there. Jean-Jacques had a crazy story about him needing to certify his, black belt, but then getting promoted to coral belt, you know, and he's like, this guy is telling me like, you're not honoring my black belt. He's like, I was a black belt before you were born.
Right.
You know?
Right.
But I got to certify my black belt with you, you know?
Right.
Like,
did he want to compete?
You know, I think it's more for his students, right?
Oh, he could
put his students in.
Yeah. I have everything under Lloyd. I haven't gone through all the hoops of doing my own registration.
Yeah.
It's just, I need to. I mean, it's like, that's part of the thing. And certainly as my own kids, because I haven't done any IBJJF, but they're getting better. It's just such a grind. And I know that wrestling is a grind for a long time. So I've tried not to make it so much of a grind for them, you know, while they're young, you know, no tournaments and stuff like that. They did one wrestling tournament this year. It was a, you know, very beginner tournament. And of course they smoked everybody, which was fun. But, so I haven't done all the things that I would need to have all those certifications and stuff like that. We have been doing this. There's a PBJJF, Professional Brazilian Jiu Jitsu League, and it's with Max Jimenez and a bunch of his black belts and guys he's partnered with, and they run a nice event, and we're gonna go see. I'll have my kids compete at the end of the summer, but we're not a super competition team. I mean, it's a small school at my house that I built, so you know, if I have 25, 30 kids in my kids program, you know, it's never going to be 500
kids, you know? Yeah. I mean, how crazy is it? Like, I always thought jiu-jitsu would become more popular sooner, right? Like, I remember going to like my 10-year anniversary of the Worlds. It was at the Pyramid in Long Beach, right? Walking around. I'm like, I can't believe how much hasn't changed, right? Like, how's this, like, it's still the same dumb shit, you know, going on. Like, it's still like everybody complaining about referees, disorganized, no like real sponsors, no TV deals, no, you know, nothing. It was just kind of the same old thing, you know.
Interesting. I mean, I haven't been out, but it's
that was a while ago now. I mean, now we just have, you know, like UFC's putting a ton of money in. Mo with 80cc, you know, blew that all up. The Craig Jones event was, you know, now there's like big time events and you don't have to be on TV, right? Before you had to be on TV to like.
Well, a lot of it is on Flow.
And Fight Pass, yeah.
Flow has helped out tremendously with that.
Yeah.
And I mean, you just had the big one that was over in Europe where they won $500,000.
Right, that's what I'm saying. It's like finally.
Yeah, $50K per athlete.
Well, like $1 million at Craig Jones.
Yeah.
You know.
Amazing.
Yeah.
It's good.
Like
good time.
It's great.
Good time to be alive.
Like, it's great. Yeah. Well, it'd been better if we were a little younger. We could have won some money instead of those. You know, I mean, first tournament ever in Vegas, right? I did it with Simmons. You know, and like the grand prize was $500.
Right.
You know,
right.
But people were stoked that we were giving away $500.
Dude, we were happy just to get a free flight.
Right.
And a free trip to Vegas. It was my first trip to Vegas.
Oh yeah.
For the West Coast one. Mm-hmm. And then I lost to.
I mean, that was a good event,
David
man. The
Terrell.
people that fought in that event was, there was like a lot of people that went on to be huge.
Matt Hughes
and his brother. Yep.
I mean, I don't know if Carlos
Antonio
Newton
McKee
was in any of those or
Diego Sanchez, BJ Penn.
Yeah.
There was a bunch of other people that were.
I remember competing with Shoney Carter.
Shoney Carter, yeah.
He used to come out in a little skimpy outfit.
So there was,
Gracie Worlds. Mm-hmm. All of those events. But it was more for the prestige and less for the money.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, and when it was so much smaller back then, like you could figure out how good your skills were locally, but jiu-jitsu was such a small pocket, right? Like you didn't know, a lot of guys would come from, especially like the middle of the country to the West Coast.
Right.
And you might have been the best blue or purple belt in town, but you got over to the West Coast and all of a sudden you got smoked.
Right.
Right. Because like or even like to the East Coast,
right.
Especially more like the Northeast up that area.
Yeah, with Henzo.
Yeah.
Henzo was obviously the big ticket.
Yep.
On the East Coast, and then you started American Top Team in Florida, and then you had the Avalon Brothers with Florida Freestyle, and you had
but those are all just pockets.
The Florian Brothers up in Boston.
Yep.
I tell you what, man, I miss Joe Prioli. I think about Joe Prioli a lot.
Yeah.
Certainly
he was a great guy.
The times that we had, that one specific summer that we had in Brazil with Joe and going to your house and hanging out.
Yeah.
And Joe was a beast on the mat,
was,
man.
Yeah.
He was a beast, man.
Yeah.
And
that was like the only big chunk of time I got to spend with him. I went back to hang out with the Migler East guys and everything, and Marco. But we just be like, a weekend here and there and stuff, Because I was still living in Brazil, but when I would come back, I'd cruise through the East Coast and check in on people.
I still keep up with the Migler East brothers, man.
I do a little bit too. They are.
They're good dudes, man.
I mean, I got some stories about Big Ricky coming down to Brazil.
He was a wild man.
He broke some fools off while he was down there too.
He was not afraid to.
He was not afraid to go in the gym and put the beat down on people. Yeah.
He was a beast.
He wasn't.
Still is a beast.
He wasn't afraid to put the beat down on people anywhere.
He went in the street, anywhere. Yeah. He would. He was an ass kicker.
I'll tell you a funny story about Big Rick. So we were out at this nightclub, and we're gringos, so the girls are approaching us, right? And this girl walks up to Rick, like not that attractive, everything, but she's nice. She's trying to be, and he just he's so tall. He looks down at her and he goes, "Hey Shrek, where's your donkey?" And this girl was like so mad and offended. She went and got the bouncers, and the bouncers came over, and like they took like one look at Rick, and I was probably like 10 of us, everything like that. And they're like, yeah, get out of here, girl. They're like, we're not gonna even try to throw these 10 dudes out of the nightclub right now, no matter how angry a scene you're causing, And I'm the only one that speaks Portuguese, so I'm like, hey, what's the problem, And they're like, oh, they said this girl's like blah blah. I'm like, you said some mean shit to her, but like whatever, we didn't do anything. And the guy's like, all right,
But I mean, he was always a big handsome dude, so he would get a lot of attention.
He got especially in Brazil.
You didn't even have to be that handsome. You come down looking like Rick Migler, he's freaking big tall Italian guy hanging down in Rio, man.
And a gringo.
That would have been funny.
Yeah. Oh, we had.
I know he and Phil. I mean, they were they 95 when they started as well?
Had to been around then. I don't know. I can't keep track of who started where.
I know all of you guys started before I did. I started in 97. And then
I really started like around 93, 94, like right after the UFC, but I don't count it because my friend Rob Carter showed up at my house with like Ultimate Fighting Championships 1 and 2, and he was already a blue belt.
Really?
And so he was training with Hyacinth Gracie, not Helson, Hyacinth in like Newport Beach. So I was driving from Hollywood to Newport Beach to train jiu-jitsu, like hour and a half, maybe 3 hours in traffic. And bro, it was such a scam. It was $60 a class, and we drilled 3 moves, and you weren't even allowed to roll. And until you could go, like they had like all these moves across the banner, until you had like drilled and could do all those moves, you weren't allowed to roll.
Wow.
And so like that, how often can you make it to class? You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. So I don't really count that,
Right.
But I had the T-shirt and the hoodie, the Gracie Jiu Jitsu hoodie and stuff. And then when I moved in '95, I moved up to NorCal, and I drove by a house school, and I called my friend Rob. I'm like, "Hey, is this house guy legit?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, he's legit." Going, and then I went in there, and the first class, I was like, this is a whole fucking different jiu-jitsu, the first class I'm getting destroyed. I was like, so I don't,
That's how it was when
I
I
don't
started,
count that,
Yeah, at Yamasaki in '97, it was like went in the first day and choked in arm bars, like immediately you wrestle? Here, yeah. Go have fun.
Yeah.
Guys kicking my ass.
I mean, that's how it was. I always laugh when people are like, I see Gracie bully proof. I'm like, we were trained jiu-jitsu to be bullies. Like, what are you talking about?
Right. Friday night fights. There was an open fight policy. People could come in off the street and challenge. And
we had that every day of the week.
Yeah.
Every day of the week. And if you were like a new person that came in, if you were a new person from another gym, oh boy. First of all, the warm-ups were going to be until we tried to get you to throw up.
Right.
And then if you didn't throw up, then everybody was so angry that, Half was going to be there.
Right.
If you weren't trying to tap that dude out as many times as hard as you could, then he was going to probably whoop your ass. So, but if you came back the next day, you're in. Right. But a lot of people didn't come back the next day.
Right. Yeah, it wasn't a great business model.
No.
It's beat the shit out of people.
It was an injury factory.
Only the tough people will survive and come back.
Well, it's just such a, it was jiu-jitsu for street fighting.
Yeah.
It wasn't a competition stuff. The first couple of tournaments I went in, I didn't even know the points.
Right.
Right. It's only till I lost my first 2 tournaments. I got silver on points. And finally I went to Dave and Dan Camarillo. I'm like, why do I keep losing? I tried way more submissions than their guy.
Right.
Oh, he got an advantage because he got, what's an advantage?
Right. Right.
I'm like, what are you talking about?
Right.
He didn't even put one submission on me,
Right.
So.
Yeah.
Then it became a little more.
Dave Camarillo, man. I've been checking him out on Instagram, and he still looks great.
Yeah.
Has he been down here?
No. I don't even know if he's broken.
No, he doesn't look like it.
I haven't seen him in a while. I spent more time with Dan. I see Dan more than Dave.
I watch him on Instagram, man. He's still freaking
he can move.
Awesome. Yeah. Moves great.
I mean, when he was, he was competing as a black belt in the world's level for judo, but he was a blue belt in jiu-jitsu still. He'd go in and just fly an arm lock, throw people into arm locks, just.
That's awesome.
It was not quite fair that you're fighting a world's level judoka black belt as a jiu-jitsu blue belt.
Right. Right.
I guess there's no difference in a D1 wrestler though coming in and.
No.
Yeah.
Now, when I was in Colombia, I went to the national team for judo, and they had Olympic bronze medalist from Japan who was there. And yeah, he wanted to. Well, we wrestled on the ground, of course. A different animal on the ground.
Yeah.
Then he wanted to wrestle on his feet, and I was like, first of all, he had been teaching, and I had been doing all the warm-ups and everything, and wrestled every black belt in there for like 2.5 hours. Then at the end, he wanted to wrestle me, and I was like,
that guy, he's one of those guys.
I was like, no, not gonna do it.
Yeah.
And then we got on the ground, and I was all over him, man. I was freaking all over him. But at the last second, I'm trying to submit him, and I opened and I kind of rest for a minute, man. He jumped right over and hit me in an arm bar.
Oh, yeah?
I freaking got the tap, and then they blew the whistle, and that was that. And I mean, I was like...
Damn.
I didn't sleep for years over that, man. I was like, But he got me.
Yeah, it happens.
He got me, man.
Yeah, it's just training.
Olympic
just training.
Bronze medalist.
Yeah.
But I wasn't going to go on my feet with him.
No.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, those judo guys.
I was
One time we dojo stormed the San Jose Judo Club, the team there, and I got my arm snapped off. Yeah, this judoka guy just like over the shoulder. You know? Yeah. I was still a white belt. You know, it was like, remember Cameron Earl? It was like Cameron, Dave, BJ, you know, like some of the other guys. And we would just roll into places, you know, like, you guys want to fight? You know? But then after that, after I got my arm snapped, the boys wrecked shop on everybody else that was in there, you know, so.
Yeah, Cameron was a beast, man.
Yeah.
What's he up to?
Life in prison.
No way.
Yeah.
For what?
Oh, God, all kinds of bad things. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't go that route.
Don't
Kids
go
at
that
home,
route.
don't go that route. Whatever
don't
that
be a
is that he
psycho.
did, don't do that.
Don't be a psycho. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Life in
But, you know,
prison.
speaking of joints getting broken, I heard you actually broke Ed Clay's foot.
I did.
That wasn't very nice of you.
That's how we met.
Where was that?
It was at a tournament, and it might have been down in Georgia or somewhere, or we'd gone down to Atlanta, I think. It might have been in Atlanta. Mm-hmm. And he was going for my foot, and so I went for his foot, and his foot broke first.
His was more frail.
Yes. Yeah, but when I went to 2019 Worlds, man, and I was sure I was going to kill everybody, because I was like, none of these guys can wrestle with me. And I was up.
Where was 2019?
Vegas.
Vegas?
California. Maybe I was in California for that. It was the gi. And I just was like, I didn't think anybody could.
I think it was California, yeah.
I was up 4-0 with 2 advantages in the first minute and a half, and I started breathing hard, like, getting a little intense.
Against who?
Oh gosh, out of Texas, I can't think of his name right now, but multiple-time world champion.
Yeah.
But I wasn't, super nice guy, and I can see his face right now. But I went for a foot lock, and my foot was already hurt, and I forgot it was taped up, and I left my foot there. And I was like, I was starting to hear his foot go, and my foot just went.
Ugh.
And he immediately let go of my foot and was worried about me, and I was so pissed. I was like,
damn.
They're like, you all right? Get some ice. Come over. And I was like, no.
Yeah.
Just freaking mad.
I have this lucky foot where I tore the tendon off the bone snowboarding, so you can't keep foot lock it. So people would try to like be foot locking on it, and I would just look at them because the tendon's no longer, it's not even attached. So it's just, you know, I could leave it out there, like, go ahead, you know, and let them try to figure for it, you know. Thanks, let me get your back now, you know.
Well, first time my foot had ever ripped like that.
Yeah.
And so that was, I thought of Ed Clay.
Did you?
I was like 20.
Karma.
20 some years later, I went for somebody's foot and left my foot out.
Yeah.
It was just like he went for my foot.
Ed still walks
and
with a
left his
limp
foot.
from that. Did you know
No way.
that?
No way. I mean, it's impossible. He owns a stem cell shop.
Yeah.
I mean, I know he walks perfectly. But yeah, that's the first time we met. And then he had Submission Fighter, the magazine. And then he started coming up and training with Master Lloyd, Team Lloyd Irvin. And that friendship has been there.
Yeah.
The same.
Lloyd's
which is interesting that we've all met through different paths. We didn't similar paths, like through jiu-jitsu, but it wasn't like
I have no idea when the first time. Did we meet in Brazil? No, we must have met before.
You and I?
We must have met in like one of the grapplers or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, like 98.
Yeah.
98, 99. That's why it's been 26, 27 years at least. And you were running around with
you still look so
camera.
young. You look the same.
We both look the same.
What do you mean I got all gray hair now, man? I don't know what you're talking about.
You could change that. You like it.
It's fine.
You're the most interesting man in the world.
I met that guy.
You did?
He sat in that chair.
Really?
Yeah.
What was that about?
Came to get stem cells.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How's he doing?
He was hilarious, dude. Our podcast, it was more him interviewing me than me interviewing him. But, for all the times that, like, people ask me if I'm him, or Facebook thinks I'm him, or the memes that have been made with him about me and all that, it's just awesome to just finally meet the guy. And he was so cool, so nice. That's the best thing about CPI and stuff is just how many awesome people. I mean, just even this week, how many awesome people when people come down here, the group setting, the dinner, you know, everything that we're doing. That's one thing I hear all the time. Just, you know, we have another patient that was here this week, been to another place. And at dinner, she was like, this is so nice of you. Like, do you do this every week, or is this? I'm like, yeah, every week, you know.
Right.
Whenever, you know, it just breaks the ice, creates the vibe. Everybody gets to talk. When you're eating food that good and your stomach's full, you know, it's just the way to do it. You know, create that. Everybody's in the same room.
Right.
And you know, that's what I have to tell people too. I'm like, listen, you know, if there's celebrities here, they're normal people. You got to treat them like normal people because they're going to be sitting right next to you.
Right.
Don't, you know, no sneaking photos or nothing like that. I'll kick you out.
Right. Right. Well, I mean, you know, that I mean, just the people that were at the table, at the dinner table last night, you know, and influencers and NFL players and stunt people.
Oh, yeah, we have a super influencer here this week. I forgot.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And
I feel so measly with my 35,000 followers when you get these big 7-digit people around.
When you get,
I'm so uninfluential.
A million?
You know?
I know.
But she has a really cool story, you know? She's a grinder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Autumn, yeah. Calabrese, or Calabrese,
yeah.
Right?
I guess that mob connection helps.
Yeah, of course. The mob connection always helps you in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And so she's been super, super nice, super cool.
Yeah.
And I was talking to my wife about her because she has that 21-day fix on the, what's it, like the P90X type of, what's that brand, the whole brand? Beachbody.
Beachbody, yep.
So she's on the Beachbody brand with the 21-day fix. And I told my wife last night that we had dinner together, and she was like, oh my God, I do her workout.
Oh, that's so cool.
She already does her workout. So
right on.
My wife was super stoked about that. She's like, you get to do all the fun stuff, you know?
Well, bring the wife out.
I'm like, yeah, that's why I come out here. It's a vacation from our 6 beautiful children and my beautiful, awesome wife back at home. Hey, honey.
I'm glad you have 6 because that makes up for me having 0.
Yeah.
It kind of balances out.
Balances out.
Yeah.
The yin to the yang.
Yeah.
You know?
It's perfect.
Listen, that's the best thing that I've ever done by far. You know, all the jiu-jitsu and stuff like that. Just being a parent is, I would recommend to anybody, even you. I mean, you could, plenty of kids out there that need adoption and what have you. I mean, I can coach you through
I'm
that.
Uncle Scott to plenty of kids.
That I know, but I'm just saying, if you ever want
to. You know, Ed and I were just talking about it this morning, you know, like we're hiring some new people, and one of the things we got to look at is like, you know, we grind for work, and you know, when people have a family and stuff like that, obviously family has to be first. So, you know, we have to take that into consideration with our staff and stuff. Just because Ed and I are up at 2-3 o'clock in the morning, on the phone, texting, you know, like looking at, you know, last night meta ads went down for some reason. You know, we're up, you know, figuring it out.
Right.
Working with old Jason Selva, you know Jason, right?
Uh-huh.
But you know, we can't expect everybody to work.
I mean, exactly. Yeah. The entrepreneur's life is a grind, and you guys have done it, which is amazing to take 2 entrepreneurs like you guys that were jiu-jitsu based in the beginning and to run such a successful hospital is amazing, right? The amount of learning that you've had to do on your own to get there is really kind of next level. That's any
business on being an entrepreneur. But really, I got to credit Ed. You know, like Ed was always good at creating fight camps, and all you have over there is a fight camp, right? You know, like you look at even like the cancer or the stem cells or anything. It's like, okay, you got to get the best coaches, right? You know, so the coaches in this case are scientists and doctors and nurses and nutritionists and cardiologists, like all of these different people that we have on staff. If it's the same thing, like if you're looking to, you know, people think like, oh, a fighter is just a fighter, but they're not. They're their camp. They're their team, right? And so how, you know, it's who you surround yourself with. And so by always trying to get the best talent that we can in whatever position they have in the company, then that's just going to, you know, make the company go up, you know?
Right.
You know, the fight is the fight for the fighter to lose, right?
Right.
But the support system is the camp.
Right. Now that makes a lot of sense. And the amount of people that you've added
we're over 250 employees.
Is incredible.
Yeah.
And everybody's been great.
They're all awesome.
I mean, the guy who put this in my IV in this morning is from Ethiopia.
Yep.
Amazing.
Yep.
I'm like, wow, this guy's a nurse, high level, in Tijuana at the stem cell from Ethiopia. Wow. So the brand is expanding. The people are expanding. I mean, the doctors and nurses are coming from all over. I know I was talking to, they're not just from Tijuana, right?
They're from all over Mexico, but we, PhD wise, we got Italy, we got China, we got India, we got people just, who cares where you're from or whatever.
Of course,
it's like Ireland, we got
But to be able to bring that kind of talent into
all the way down to Tijuana. For you to move from wherever to come work in Tijuana.
Yeah, the vision has got to be clear. And it has to be
no
bold.
offense to Tijuana. I love it down here. But
the food's been amazing.
It's not a destination location for science necessarily for people.
Exactly.
It's becoming one, but.
Exactly. And I see the amount of building that's going on in the neighborhoods and the houses.
It's coming up.
Seems like this place is good place for investment. Where do you see you guys going next? So like when I was talking, with you about NFL players and John and stuff like that, who's former NFL player, how do you get to that next bridge with Major League sports?
That's a good question. I think, the thing with some of the Major League sports guys is their contracts are, if I understand it correctly, if they get benched for injury, they get paid less money. So we've had a lot of different NBL, NFL, different like major sports groups come down, but they never want anybody to know.
Right.
If they're retired guys, then it's fine, but they don't want anyone to know because if they're not playing and people know they're hurt, my understanding is that they get paid less money, whereas if they're benched but they're not hurt, they get their same salary. So I don't know a lot about it or anything, like that. But, of course, if there's any athlete that we can help, but, the majority of our business is just, pretty much regular people. Like, number one thing we do is disc injections, right? And back surgeries. I had one, they suck. So, I mean, if you saw this week when we, who's here for discs, it's half the room.
Right.
Are down for people for discs. So that's the most common thing. It'd be great to get some more professional athletes and stuff down here, but it's really changing the life of a dad who could play with their kid again. Actually gives me a little more warm fuzzies than, okay, this guy can go back to the NFL.
Totally. But as you know, from a business perspective, you got to have the people that, in order to be able to reach the masses more and bring costs down, somebody's got to be at the forefront of it, right? Yeah. And so getting the UFC involved and like, how does that work with USADA?
USADA's gone with UFC. They have a new program. We just, we met with their whole team, the drug people, everything, all of that. Gave them all the data. It took like 8 months. And, there's some stuff that the UFC guys can't do while they're here. But most of the stuff, stem cell wise, they can do.
Okay. So
they get a little different program when they come down here than the normal person. Same stem cells,
right?
But there, there's other stuff that mostly IV stuff that they can't do.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
So I didn't know that. So would that correlate with the NFL, NHL?
I don't know how their drug testing and stuff works, and all those guys all come in like off season. There is some paperwork to do around them as well, just like for the UFC guys. I'm
just curious, like how do you get in with the training organizations and the trainers at so it becomes...
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, obviously into the fight world,
right.
I work with the UFC forever.
Right.
Since before the first show, the last SCG show, and then the first Fertitta show, I was doing stuff with the UFC. I was writing articles about the UFC for Black Belt Magazine before the Fertittas bought the UFC.
Right.
So that was an easy shoe in. But like, be honest, I'll watch the Super Bowl, but I don't watch much TV, period, but I don't watch any other sports.
Sure. Yeah. No, I'm not a big sports fan.
As
far as
I don't know.
As a spectator, I did buy season tickets to the Redskins Commanders, as they're called now. This year, first time, Buddy and I went in, got 6 tickets or whatever. But it's more for our kids, right? Something we can do fun. Kids like football, so we're going to do something. We'll see how it goes, right? And, going with one of my best friends and his kids, it'll be fun. But normally it's a lot of time just driving there. I'd rather watch it on TV than be in the parking lot and tailgating and all that kind of stuff. It's just not kind of in my nature naturally to do that.
Yeah.
So I'm with you on that. I'm thinking about every time I come down here and I see the impact that you're having, I think, damn, how do we get this more to the masses in the U.S.? And obviously you're working on studies and NIH and that kind of stuff. And what do you think the
real big next thing that we're doing right now is the genetic testing and the custom peptides. So, as far as getting that into the U.S., we're hiring all the right people and all that stuff, but that's a very long and expensive process. It's going to happen. For sure it's going to happen. But right now, the advanced thing that we're doing is this genetic testing. And then we bought a peptide and building it into a cellular lab in the U.S. And so people will be able to come down here, do the genetic testing, especially for cancer patients. And then looking at their genetics to how to their nutrigenomics, their food and their supplements, how they're affecting their DNA, their pharmacogenomics, and then just really looking at the DNA level, and then perhaps having a custom peptide routine that goes with the supplementing, the diet, the medications into the peptides. And getting all of that set up where they come here for the testing where it's inexpensive. And then when they get back home, all of the stuff that they need can be shipped directly to their house from the lab in Nashville. And then as stem cells become more available, more legal in the U.S., we'll just be already set up to go. We'll have more data than anybody else, any other stem cell company. We're over 2 years of collecting data on patients returning, first coming back at, coming in the original time, then coming 3 months and then 6 months. Now we're at 6 months in a year. We have thousands of patients worth of data that we're going to be publishing. So we know when things become available in the U.S., it's the fight world. How do you prove you're the best? You get in there and you actually fight, right? So if you've never collected any data on your stem cells, on your patients, some of these places you go in there, you get your stem cells, you never hear from them again. So how do they even know how their patients are doing?
Right.
I got 30 returns this week.
Right.
And I'm checking up on everyone. I'm checking up on every one of them. I'm going to go meet every one of them personally.
Right.
But of course, they're going to see the doctor. They're going to get their MRIs. They're going to do their blood work.
Right.
And they're going to meet with the radiologist. And we're going to go over it. And we get a lot of great results. Does it work for everybody? No, nothing works for everybody. But this gives us such a chance to learn and improve.
Right.
That by the time that comes, we're going to be so far ahead of everybody.
Right. 2 things. So somebody sent me a message, and they have a 16-year-old.
Yep.
Do you have an age limit?
18.
18. So there's, and I told them that I would ask you about that because they said they talked. And
that's just 16. My licensing here. So.
Okay. Okay. So I'm going to return their message. I meant to ask you at dinner last night, and I forgot.
It's all good.
The aptamone.
Yep.
Which I'm telling you should do an aptatone.
That's you. You get to do that, yeah.
We should do that, know. I'm not the... But you know what song I'm talking about. I'm telling you. If you did it's a big hit song.
I'm a loser. All I do is work, bro. All I do is work and fly my airplane around.
All right, well, I'll work on that song for you. So the aptamone, but I was in a meeting with the doctor when you were going over that. And what they were telling me is that today in the bus, said something about the vitamin K. And that vitamin K now has to be a prescription? Like what?
Vitamin K3.
K3.
Just K3.
So
and
what's
K3
up with that?
potentiates the vitamin C. Vitamin C hits a cancer cell. It oxidizes the cancer cell. And so it just makes the vitamin C more powerful for, we've seen cancer tumors just like shrink a lot from it.
Why is K3?
I don't know. If you're trying to tell me the way things work in the FDA or anything, you're talking to the wrong guy. I don't know.
I'm going to ask when I get back there because I have a handful of students and neighbors who work at the FDA.
Ask them.
And I'm going to ask them.
Yeah.
See what K3.
Yeah.
I'll remember that. And I'm going to take some aptamone back with me.
You should.
And I should really have my father on it, who's the cancer survivor.
Absolutely.
Right?
Well, just think about taking it like I take it just like I would take vitamin C. I take vitamin C every day. I'm just going to take the aptamone because it just has that K3 in it and more of it's going to absorb. And it's just kind of a better, non-official
big
cancer
on vitamin
fighter.
C. I've been taking 3,000 to 5,000 milligrams a day for 25 years.
One of the things I notice is when I take like regular vitamin C, you get like the asparagus pea. But when you take a bunch of the aptamone, you don't. Like your body's absorbing more of it.
I've been taking it for so long, I don't even, I wouldn't even pay attention anymore. I mean, I've literally been taking thousands a day.
So good for you.
For years that I read it in a book. Mm-hmm. It was about a book about diabetes, and it was just part of, in that book where they just talk about cell function and cell structure and all that kind of stuff, and vitamin C being a building block. And it's worked for me. I don't get sick a lot. All the vitamin C packets that they have out now. So the aptamone will increase absorption. It's less vitamin C, but it's increasing the efficacy.
Well, it can be as much vitamin C as you want, depending on how many capsules you take. But you don't have to take as many because you're getting more of it's being absorbed.
If you took it so let's say I take my regular chewable vitamin C with the aptamone, would that aptamone increase the absorption?
The K3?
Correct.
I believe so, but I don't know. I don't know the exact how much K3 there has to be to how much vitamin C. Yeah.
So there's been a lot. Like this time, obviously you guys are learning and growing and improving, and maybe we're paying attention more because I'm not surrounded by guys that I want to talk about 1990s and 2000s jiu-jitsu with. Or even we were like wrestling on the floor first time where we're showing each other technique and watching videos and stuff like that. So it's interesting. I mean, you're full that you went over, and people were talking about it today in the van ride over, how impressed they were that it wasn't off of a script. I mean, everything that you went that was just off of, you're just talking, and you're up there talking for 2 hours, leading people through. And that was feedback that I got from people today saying, man, I was really impressed with Scotty's
thank you.
knowledge. And
I mean, I've done all the treatments,
being able to run through,
and I met so many patients, and, so this became from people would always find me and ask me questions and stuff. So I'm always one to put myself out there. I love people. I want everybody to get better. So I started getting feedback from aftercare of what people would be good for people to know. And I kind of just compiled the questions that people would always ask me. And I just said, you know what, let me just go down there. And I'm like, hey, I'm here. How can I help? What questions do you have? Let's go. I'll do my best.
Right.
And so that just evolved into, it's still a very open forum Q&A, but there is some basic knowledge that I can impart to people that everybody needs to know who's coming down to do stem cells. So I start out with that, right? And then from there, it just, okay, let's get everybody's questions answered.
Well, there were very few questions yesterday because it was so complete.
It was
the things that you went over.
It's weird, different groups, different, but there's usually actually more questions than there was yesterday.
Well, it was.
So
a very
sometimes I wonder
job.
if I'm boring people today.
No, not at all. Do you remember my buddy Dave Berman that came down here?
Yeah,
Dr. Berman.
Yeah,
he sent me a video the other day. He did 25 pull-ups in a row.
Oh, that's awesome.
He's pushing 70.
Yeah,
he's badass.
Yeah, Dave
Berman.
I'm getting up. I do after my shoulder tear. I hit 20. Like I was working my way up to it, and then I rested 2 days. I'm like, let me max out. Maybe it was 19 and a half, But yeah, just to be able to get back up to be able to do pull-ups.
He's feeling a lot better.
That's awesome.
And he's coming back shortly for the follow-up.
I love it. Tell him to say hi.
Yeah, definitely. But, as somebody, one thing that I noticed because I've been here 3 times is that people come up to me, obviously, and they ask me questions. And somebody said to me yesterday in the hotel, you and your team are doing great things. And I was like,
You're like, you know my wrestling team?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But so when, obviously I talk about it and I'm on my Instagram and what have you, and I'm letting people follow my journey and showing them what it is and giving them my real feedback of the hard thing though for me is that's a little bit more challenging than I think to other people is because I jump right back on the mat.
Yeah,
I'm jumping back on the mat.
You don't follow instructions.
Well, it's hard, right? Right? Because you're trying to run a business and do things.
Hard.
And
it's just a choice.
It's hard because I don't run a big school, so I don't have employees, right? I have students that will help and that will teach. But I mean, after a couple months, like I want to be back on the march. So maybe I'm not following instructions. I'm making excuses. It's fine. But where would I be had I had done different things? What would my recovery look like? And at the same time, I've still put a ton of wear and tear on my body from 46 to 49. And I'm feeling better today before my next procedure that I'm having than I did prior. And I've been suffering with anxiety these past year and a half. I had my first anxiety attack. And I noticed after just a couple days of doing the NAD plus that my heart, the skipping beats was settling down. So
good.
What that's doing or, resetting some of the electrical things going on or my level of anxiety today versus my level of anxiety the first day when I got down here, just being just away has been very different. So just physiologically, I'm a very different person at 49 than I was at 46 or the last time that I came down here. So this treatment has been uniquely different from the first time. And I'm interested to see what those benefits are over the next 90, 120 days as well, as far as like going back to my cardiologist. I need to drop some more weight because I put on a little bit of weight because your heart's not running right. But like I told you, I was 172 on the elliptical 2 days ago. And I was the same at home. I pushed myself into the 170s all the time. And that's wrestling. But now I'm thinking about it. I never paid attention before. If I hit 200, I mean, I was stoked. I was like, I'm doing something great. This is exactly what you're supposed to be doing. But then you get these thoughts in your head. So that was another big piece of why I'm going to do more of the IV stem cells. We've talked about this than I did previously. And so we have the back issue, but now I'm also looking at the health issue. We talked about my asthma, which I wasn't thinking about, but I had noticed that it had gotten better over the past few years than where it was. And of course I had COVID, which hurt me. And then, I ended up with pneumonia and COVID and not hospitalized, but on medication.
Did you train while you had COVID?
I don't think I was training while I had COVID.
Working out, I mean.
I
just seen like a lot of COVID long hauler patients that we had, especially athletes. Mm-hmm. They didn't just like shut down and do nothing when they had it, and they kept like exercising, and that seems to have made it worse for patients.
I know I was pushing myself to get out and walk and do things because I didn't want my lungs to fill up. Mm-hmm. And I remember coughing till I was spitting blood because I was just trying to clear my chest all the time. I didn't want, I just had the fear, right? That your chest is going to clear up. And then, so I was on a Z-Pack, and then I ended up going on like some pneumonia medication, and it cleared up. Like, and then I started getting better. And I came after that. I came after that because then I came in 2022, and I do notice that my breathing has gotten better. I still use my asthma spray sometimes, but I used to use it daily, and now it's rarely do I use my asthma spray. Right. And the thing about medications and getting better is that most of the time you don't notice them when you're good.
Right.
You notice them when you're bad, and so you have to stop and think about it. Like, oh, I haven't worn my back brace in a long time. Oh, I don't think about bending over to pick something up. It's only when something goes wrong that you're like, oh crap, my back is such and such. But when I think about like, is my breathing perfect? No, but it's not, it doesn't hit me to where I go, wow, I need to take my asthma spray. It's under normal, I can make myself wheeze, but.
I mean, I can make myself wheeze.
Right.
But yeah.
But under normal breathing circumstances, that's not a thought. And even though I'm out of shape, I got in the pool the other day and my kid's like, oh, Dad, can you swim underwater? And I swam the full length of the pool underwater. My shoulder was hurting, which was terrible. I was trying to fight to the other side. But I was like, daggone, that's pretty good lung capacity and control for a guy who's not working out that strenuously at all. So that side of coming down to CPI is different from the first 2 times that I was coming down. First 2 times was like strictly back, hang out, see some friends, that would be fun. But it was strictly back. Now it's like, okay, what can I do? Those things, obviously, when I was doing 30, 40, 50 million stem cells, IV stem cells on top of it. The second time, I wasn't here for the full week because it was follow-up. So I didn't do all the NAD pluses and that kind of stuff. Did a little bit of it, but not to the same extent. And no, this time, trying to push up to 100 million, right, on top of the 120, I think it's going into my back and neck and joints and stuff like that. And see what that does. Plus, I was able to do stronger NAD plus from day one because we already knew that I was going to be okay with it. So instead of starting out at the 100, I was at the 500 and then 500 yesterday. 500 yesterday, where people normally were, the guy, John beside me was like feeling it. Yeah. I was taking it at a faster clip. Never felt woozy like I did the first day. So my body was acclimating to it. Then my skip beats subsided substantially for the rest of that evening. So that's interesting. I mean, it's all anecdotal, but
it's your health. It's your experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's great, dude. Well, I'm getting blown up. We got to get you back over there.
Let's do it.
So thanks for coming on the podcast.
Love you guys. Definitely come down here if you're hurt. It's worth it. See you on the mat.
All right.